Hi there. Today we're going to talk about a silent killer more dangerous than you might think. Stroke. Sounds distant? The truth is, over 15 million people around the world suffer a stroke every year. In the US alone, it's nearly 800,000 cases annually. But what's truly shocking isn't just the numbers, it's the fact that many of these strokes could have been prevented. Because the body sends out early warning signs, but they're soft, subtle, easy to ignore. No alarms, no flashing lights. Just a weak arm, slurred words, a brief dizzy spell, and then it passes. And by the time we realize what's happening, it might already be too late. Some lose the ability to walk. Some forget who they are. Some never wake up again. But it doesn't have to be this way. If you can spot just one small warning sign early, you might save your own life, or someone you love. Don't look away from this video. This is not scare tactics. This is life-saving information. Let's get started.
I once saw something that left me stunned. Mrs. Thompson, a lively 72-year-old woman who had been living an active, healthy life for years, came into my office for a routine checkup. She had recently been feeling unusually tired, experiencing headaches and dizziness when standing up. It wasn't until she told me she had been eating a particular food every day that I realized something crucial was missing from her diet. I knew right away these symptoms pointed to something more serious than just aging. It's easy to assume that we're doing everything right when it comes to our health, especially when we're eating things that seem healthy, right? We've been told for years that certain foods are good for us. But here's the truth. There are certain healthy foods that may actually raise your stroke risk, particularly if you're over 60. This may come as a shock to you, but what you're eating can play a huge role in your stroke risk. You see, food isn't just fuel. It's a powerful force that can either support your body's resilience or put unnecessary stress on it. And the foods we think are good for us can sometimes be sneaky culprits in raising that risk. In today's video, I'm going to reveal the top 5 foods you need to reconsider foods that might seem harmless, but can seriously impact your health after 60. We're going to break down the science behind why they increase stroke risk and how you can make healthier choices to protect yourself. But first, let me say this. Don't miss out on tips like these. I'll be sharing a ton of valuable advice for keeping your heart and brain healthy as you age. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below, telling me what you think. Your feedback really helps me provide you with the most helpful content. Now let's dive in, the truth about processed meats. Let's begin with one of the most common food items we often overlook: processed meats. You know what I mean: bacon, sausages, hot dogs, deli meats. They're often marketed as quick, convenient, and even sometimes healthy options for busy seniors. But here's the issue. Processed meats are loaded with sodium and preservatives. This combination is a hidden danger for people over 60. A study from the American Heart Association revealed that consuming high amounts of sodium can lead to high blood pressure, a major stroke risk factor. The problem is that after 60, your blood vessels aren't as flexible as they used to be, and your blood pressure is more likely to rise. High blood pressure forces your heart to work harder, which can eventually increase your risk of a stroke. Think about it: a sandwich with a few slices of ham or turkey might seem harmless, but those processed meats could be contributing to elevated blood pressure and increasing your chances of a stroke. Even if you choose the low-fat versions, you're still consuming high levels of sodium. I remember treating a 68-year-old patient named Jim who had been eating processed meats every day for years. At first, he didn't think it would affect him, but after a few routine checkups, his blood pressure had gradually crept up and his cholesterol levels were higher than they should have been. Jim was lucky he caught the warning signs early. He made a simple but powerful change. He switched to fresh, lean meats like chicken or turkey and gradually cut back on processed foods. His blood pressure improved in just a few weeks. I'm not saying you need to give up all meats, but swapping processed meats for fresh, unprocessed options can significantly lower your stroke risk. Instead of a bacon and egg breakfast, consider a healthy omelet with fresh veggies or grilled chicken with avocado and whole grains. Trans fats, the silent culprit. Another food group to be wary of: trans fats. These sneaky fats hide in processed foods, baked goods, and even some fast foods. Trans fats are artificially created fats that can increase your bad cholesterol levels, lower your good cholesterol, and ultimately cause artery damage. Research shows that trans fats raise your risk of developing plaque in the arteries, which can restrict blood flow to the brain. This restriction can lead to strokes, and as we age, our arteries naturally become stiffer and less elastic, making it harder for blood to flow smoothly. I once saw a 74-year-old woman named Mary who had been eating store-bought pastries and fried foods on a regular basis. She didn't realize that many of these items contain trans fats. Over time, her arteries began to narrow, and she found herself feeling sluggish with poor circulation. Fortunately, after a nutritionist suggested she replace trans fats with healthier fats like olive oil and avocado, her blood tests showed improvements in her cholesterol levels. She was amazed at how a small change in what she ate could make such a big difference in her health. So the next time you're eyeing a pack of cookies or grabbing a fried snack, take a moment to check the ingredients. If you see partially hydrogenated oils, that's your cue to avoid it. Opt for healthier snack alternatives like nut seeds or fresh fruit, which will nourish your body without putting stress on your arteries. The hidden danger of sugary drinks. Now let's talk about sugary drinks. Soda-sweetened teas, fruit juices with added sugars, they may seem like refreshing beverages, but they could be increasing your risk of stroke. Studies show that excessive sugar intake leads to obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure, all of which are major risk factors for stroke. I had a patient named Bob, a 67-year-old man who had been drinking 2 sodas every day for years. He didn't think it was a big deal because he was still active, but over time he gained weight and started experiencing spikes in his blood sugar. His doctor warned him that this lifestyle could be a significant stroke risk. Bob decided to make a change, and within a few months he swapped soda for water and herbal teas. His energy improved and his blood sugar levels stabilized. If you enjoy your daily sweet drink, try replacing it with something lower in sugar, like sparkling water or unsweetened iced tea. You might find that your cravings for sugar will lessen over time as your body gets used to healthier choices. The downside of too much salt. If you're like most seniors, you probably enjoy a little seasoning on your food. But did you know that too much salt, especially in your daily meals, can be a silent threat to your health? Salt is essential for life, but as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to its effects. Excessive salt intake can lead to high blood pressure, which is a known stroke risk factor. When we consume too much salt, our bodies retain more water to balance out the sodium, and this leads to higher blood volume. This added pressure causes our arteries to work harder, which strains the cardiovascular system. For older adults, this is particularly dangerous because the blood vessels have already become stiffer over time, and the heart has to pump harder to push blood through. Let me tell you about Sarah, a 70-year-old woman who was always adding salt to her meals. She'd been diagnosed with high blood pressure years ago, but her doctor didn't really emphasize the importance of reducing sodium. It wasn't until Sarah started feeling lightheaded and noticed her feet swelling that she realized the toll salt was taking on her health. After a consultation with a nutritionist, Sarah cut back on her salt intake, switching to herbs and spices like basil, garlic, and rosemary for flavor. It wasn't just her blood pressure that improved, but she also felt lighter, more energized, and less prone to dizziness. You don't have to sacrifice flavor in order to protect your health. The key is to cook with less salt and instead use other flavorful ingredients. Fresh herbs, vinegar, citrus, or even a pinch of pepper can go a long way in making your meals both healthier and more delicious. The trouble with artificial sweeteners. Finally, let's discuss something that many seniors think is a healthier alternative: artificial sweeteners. These sugar substitutes are often found in sugar-free snacks, sodas, and even some diet products. While they may seem like a good way to cut calories or control blood sugar, they come with hidden dangers. There's growing evidence suggesting that artificial sweeteners may alter the balance of healthy gut bacteria, which plays a crucial role in managing your overall health. When this balance is disrupted, it can lead to inflammation, which can damage blood vessels and raise the risk of stroke. Additionally, some studies have found that consuming these artificial sweeteners may trigger cravings for even more sweet foods, leading to a cycle of overeating. Take the case of George, a 75-year-old man who switched to sugar-free soda years ago, hoping it would help manage his diabetes. He felt great at first, but over time he noticed that he was gaining weight, and his blood sugar levels were more difficult to control. When he replaced his artificially sweetened drinks with naturally sweet options like fruit-infused water and smoothies, he felt more satisfied, his weight stabilized, and his blood sugar levels improved. The key here is to limit or avoid artificial sweeteners altogether and opt for natural alternatives like fresh fruit or a sprinkle of cinnamon. These simple swaps can help protect your health without compromising on taste. As you can see, many of the foods we believe are healthy can actually have hidden dangers, especially after 60. Processed meats, trans fats, sugary drinks, excessive salt, and artificial sweeteners. All of these are common culprits that can raise your stroke risk. But here's the good news: by making small, simple changes to your diet, you can lower your chances of a stroke and improve your overall health. The key is to prioritize fresh whole foods that nourish your body, keep your arteries flexible, and support your heart and brain health. If you can try incorporating more fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats into your daily meals. Limit processed foods and opt for cooking at home when possible. It doesn't have to be hard, just take one step at a time, and before you know it, you'll feel the difference. What do you think? Have you ever had one of these foods in your diet regularly? What changes are you going to try? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Your journey could inspire someone else. The dangers of eating too much red meat. Let's move on to another food item that's often seen as a staple in many diets: red meat. Beef, lamb, pork. These foods are a regular part of many people's meals. But when it comes to your health after 60, too much red meat can be a problem, especially when consumed in large quantities. Red meat is high in saturated fats, which can raise levels of LDL, low-density lipoprotein cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. Research has shown that a diet high in saturated fat can contribute to plaque buildup in the arteries, restricting blood flow to your brain. This is one of the primary contributors to strokes, particularly in seniors who may already have less flexible arteries. I remember meeting a 69-year-old man named Larry who had been eating red meat at almost every meal for years. While he was still active and didn't seem to have any immediate health concerns, his cholesterol levels had been creeping up over time. When we analyzed his diet, we found that a large portion of his calories were coming from steak, sausages, and burgers. After discussing the risks, Larry decided to cut back on red meat and replace it with leaner options such as turkey chicken and plant-based protein sources like beans and lentils. Within just a few months, his cholesterol levels improved and he felt more energetic. Now, don't get me wrong, red meat in moderation isn't the issue. The problem comes when it's consumed in excess. It's about finding a healthy balance. Instead of reaching for a steak every night, try substituting red meat with healthier protein sources like fish, poultry, or even plant-based proteins. Fish like salmon, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, is particularly good for heart and brain health. If you're craving the taste of red meat, try swapping in lean cuts such as sirloin or tenderloin, and consider reducing portion sizes. Even small adjustments can have a huge impact on your stroke risk and overall health. Refined carbs, a hidden danger. You've probably heard that you should limit your intake of carbs, but what kind of carbs should you really be concerned about? It's not the healthy complex carbs found in whole grains, vegetables, and fruits. It's the refined carbs, the ones you find in white bread pastries and sugary cereals. Refined carbs are often stripped of their natural fiber, which is crucial for regulating blood sugar levels. A recent study discovered that seniors who consumed high amounts of refined carbohydrates were at a significantly higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And as you may know, diabetes is a major risk factor for stroke. The problem with refined carbs is that they cause rapid spikes in blood sugar, which over time can damage blood vessels and increase your chances of developing cardiovascular disease and strokes. Let me tell you about Emma, a 63-year-old woman who had been eating a lot of white bread and sugary breakfast cereals. She had no idea that her diet was contributing to her elevated blood sugar levels, which in turn raised her stroke risk. When Emma switched to whole grains like oatmeal, quinoa, and whole wheat bread, she noticed a big difference. Not only did her blood sugar stabilize, but she also felt fuller and more energized throughout the day. Refined carbs can be sneaky, though. You might not realize just how much sugar is hidden in seemingly innocent foods like white pasta or boxed cereals. But the next time you're grocery shopping, make it a habit to check labels. If you see enriched flour or sugar as one of the first ingredients, it's best to avoid it. Instead, opt for whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, and barley. These grains are packed with fiber, which helps regulate blood sugar levels and keeps you feeling fuller longer. By replacing refined carbs with whole grains, you're not only improving your heart health, but also lowering your stroke risk. Too much alcohol, a risk you can't ignore. Finally, let's talk about alcohol. While moderate drinking may have some health benefits, such as lowering the risk of heart disease, excessive alcohol consumption is a major risk factor for stroke. Drinking too much alcohol can increase your blood pressure, damage your liver, and increase your chances of developing arrhythmias and irregular heartbeat that can lead to stroke. I had a patient named Paul, a 71-year-old man who enjoyed a glass of wine or two every evening. But over time, he found that his blood pressure started creeping up, and he was frequently experiencing heart palpitations. After making some lifestyle changes, including cutting back on alcohol, Paul noticed that his blood pressure improved and his heart felt more stable. The key is moderation. According to the American Heart Association for older adults, this generally means no more than 1 drink per day. If you're a heavy drinker, it's best to gradually reduce your alcohol intake and seek support if necessary. If you're someone who enjoys a drink, consider swapping your evening wine for a calming herbal tea or a glass of sparkling water with a splash of lemon. This not only helps with hydration, but also reduces the strain on your cardiovascular system, keeping your heart and brain healthy, making small changes for big results. The bottom line here is simple. It's the small, everyday changes that can make the biggest difference in your health. The foods that may seem harmless or even healthy can sometimes have hidden consequences. But by making mindful choices like reducing processed meats, avoiding trans fats, cutting back on sugar and salt, and swapping refined carbs for whole grains, you can significantly reduce your stroke risk. Don't feel overwhelmed by the idea of changing everything all at once. Start by making one small change today, maybe cutting back on processed meats or reducing your sugar intake. Then as you get used to these changes, try incorporating even more heart-healthy habits into your routine. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every step you take to improve your diet is a step toward better health and a lower risk of stroke. The importance of exercise more than just food. You've heard the phrase, "You are what you eat." But I want to add another layer to that statement: you are also how you move. After 60, the importance of regular physical activity cannot be overstated. Exercise is one of the most powerful tools in reducing your stroke risk and supporting overall health. But it's not just about staying active, it's about the right type of activity and consistency. You may be wondering, but isn't it too late for me to start exercising? Aren't I too old to make a difference? I'm here to tell you that it's never too late. Even small amounts of exercise can make a significant difference, and the benefits are far-reaching. Let me explain why. When you engage in regular physical activity, you're helping your body in several ways. For one, exercise helps lower your blood pressure, a primary factor in stroke risk. When you exercise, your blood vessels become more elastic, making it easier for blood to flow smoothly through your body. Your heart also becomes stronger, which means it can pump blood more effectively, reducing strain on your cardiovascular system. Studies have shown that people who engage in moderate exercise, such as walking or light cycling, have lower blood pressure and improved cholesterol levels, both of which help reduce stroke risk. But the benefits don't stop there. Exercise also helps with weight management, improves circulation, and supports mental clarity, all essential for reducing your chances of a stroke. I had a 71-year-old patient, Joan, who had never been particularly active. She had always believed that after 60, exercise was too taxing on the body. But when she experienced some dizziness and fatigue, her doctor encouraged her to start walking for just 15 minutes each day. At first, Joan was hesitant, but after a few weeks, she noticed a significant improvement in her energy levels and felt stronger. Over time, she gradually increased her walking time, and her blood pressure dropped as a result. Joan found that she wasn't just feeling better physically, her mood lifted as well, and she felt more confident in her ability to take control of her health. Exercise doesn't have to be intense or complicated. The key is to start slowly and build up gradually. If you've been inactive, begin with something as simple as a short daily walk. The goal is consistency. Walking for 15 minutes a day, even if you break it into 2 7-minute sessions, can be incredibly effective. Over time, you can increase the duration and intensity, perhaps adding a few minutes of light stretching or low-impact strength exercises. Strength training, a game changer for seniors. While walking is fantastic, let's not forget about the importance of strength training. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass, and this decline can be a contributing factor to overall frailty. But strength training can help combat that loss by maintaining and even building muscle mass. A recent study found that seniors who engage in regular strength training have better balance, reduced fall risk, and stronger bones. Stronger muscles can also help you maintain a healthy weight, improve mobility, and promote better circulation, all of which help lower stroke risk. Don't worry, you don't need a gym membership or heavy weights to reap the benefits of strength training. Simple exercises using body weight such as squats, wall push-ups, or even lifting light household items can work wonders. For example, standing up from a chair without using your hands can help strengthen your legs and improve your balance. This is crucial for seniors who are more prone to falls and can lead to better mobility as you age. I had a patient, Harry, who started strength training at 72. He used resistance bands and dumbbells for short 10-minute sessions a few times a week. Within a couple of months, Harry noticed a dramatic improvement in his overall strength, his posture, and even his energy levels. His walking was steadier, and he felt more confident in his daily activities. Harry is a living example that even small amounts of strength training can make a big difference in how you feel and your stroke risk. Stay active in a way that's fun and enjoyable. One of the best ways to stay committed to exercise after 60 is to find something you genuinely enjoy. Physical activity shouldn't feel like a chore. Whether it's dancing, swimming, yoga, or even gardening, staying active is about finding what brings you joy. Doing what you love helps you stay motivated to move regularly, which in turn helps lower your stroke risk. I once had a patient named Clara, 65, who loved gardening. She found it so relaxing and rewarding, but over time she realized she was spending too much time sitting and not moving as much as she used to. I encouraged Clara to think of ways to incorporate more movement into her gardening routine. Instead of sitting on a stool, she began standing and stretching while tending to her plants. She also started adding short walks through her garden every day. As a result, Clara's circulation improved and she felt stronger overall. Whether it's walking, yoga, swimming, or another activity that makes you smile, find a routine that feels sustainable and enjoyable for you. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that seniors who enjoy their exercise routine are more likely to stick with it in the long term. Don't forget your mental health. It's also important to recognize the role of mental health in stroke prevention. Anxiety, stress, and depression can increase your risk of stroke, especially if you're struggling with high blood pressure or heart disease. Exercise is one of the best ways to manage stress and improve your mood. When you exercise, your body releases endorphins, those feel-good hormones that help reduce stress and anxiety. You don't have to run a marathon to reap these mental health benefits. A gentle walk or a quick yoga session can help you feel more calm, centered, and emotionally balanced. Many seniors I've worked with have told me that their mood has lifted since they started moving more regularly. When you exercise, you're not just taking care of your body, you're also taking care of your mind. This holistic approach to health is essential for long-term wellness and stroke prevention. Setting realistic goals for your health. Finally, remember that health is a journey, not a destination. Setting realistic, achievable goals is key to maintaining your well-being as you age. Start with small steps and celebrate your progress along the way. Whether it's cutting back on processed foods, walking every day, or learning new exercises, every little change is a victory. Be kind to yourself and recognize that you're doing your best. You deserve to feel good, and taking these steps toward better health will not only reduce your stroke risk, but it will also help you enjoy life more fully. In the end, it's about consistency, mindfulness, and making small positive changes every day. Whether it's eating healthier foods, exercising regularly, or managing stress, every effort counts. You have the power to make these changes, and the results can be life-changing. Remember, it's never too late to take charge of your health. You've got this